First and foremost, I want to recognize the outstanding work of Representative Tim Mahoney, not only on this bill, the December of his legislative career, but also throughout the pandemic. This is not the first small business assistance package that we have passed. This is not the first effort on behalf of Minnesotans who need support from state government to manage through this pandemic. This is the culmination of a year's worth of work on behalf of Minnesotans who need us to act and to function and to work together. Frankly, Representative Mahoney deserves some sort of gold medal for his Senate negotiating partner going back as far as the 2019 budget session. It is not easy to work across party lines. It is not easy to work across chambers. It is not easy to pull a bill together after months of very rancorous and sometimes ugly debate about a disease that is killing Minnesotans. This has been a very, very difficult year, and sometimes the ability to simply persevere long enough to create a good result is the highest form of leadership and service and sacrifice, and Representative Mahoney has displayed that for us many times this year. I am a little bit concerned about the way this debate has been framed. Many Minnesotans have made sacrifices this year to make sure that COVID-19 doesn't unnecessarily claim lives or damage the health of our fellow citizens. First responders, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators have been on the front lines. Restaurant owners, most of whom have understood the need to face these restrictions, have found ways to continue their operations. They have found ways to serve the public. They have found ways to stay in business, and many of them have found ways to keep people on the payroll long after it probably made economic sense for them to stop. Bar owners have done the same thing. People in business in Minnesota are often the pillars of our communities, especially in our small towns and with our local businesses. They understand the importance of serving, and they understand the importance of sacrificing. We have asked them to sacrifice more than just about any other business in the state, and what this bill represents is an understanding that their sacrifice has saved lives. Their sacrifice has saved health of Minnesotans. They have been on the front lines by making their businesses continue to operate as best they can under very difficult circumstances. The $200 million in this bill is a payment for workers on the front line, just as we have provided payment for workers who've been serving us in grocery stores, workers who've been serving us in healthcare settings and long-term care across the state. We, the legislature, too, have made significant sacrifices, not like these, the ones I've just described, but we have found a way to make this legislature function despite a pandemic. The tireless work of our front desk staff, Mike Spiker, House Research, the reviser, so many parts of our institution have made sacrifices to continue working from home, to find ways to create remote hearing spaces for us, to risk their own health to be here to serve the public through 7 special sessions after a regular legislative session that required us to do more work than we could possibly have imagined to remake this institution to continue to function and maximize public input as best we possibly can. I had a conversation just a couple of days ago with a legislator from Illinois who said that they have not been in session since May and they don't plan to go in until the pandemic is over, and they will try to pass a budget in 60 days. Other states are operating basically as usual despite significant public health risks. They haven't found a way to continue to do the public's business while maintaining a high standard of safety for the members and staff who work here. We have done that. Many, many, many Minnesotans have stepped up to do the right thing, make sacrifices, and help us all get through this pandemic. The business relief provisions in this bill are about making sure that those who have done the most receive the most support. This isn't like the PPP program that paid out millions and millions of dollars to people who don't need it and who are doing just fine. This is small business relief targeted at the smallest companies who need the most help, who've done the most to help keep us all safe. We are fortunate that also includes, or that this bill includes, a significant and historic expansion of unemployment insurance to the Minnesotans who have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Now, I know that you want to say that every bad thing that ever happened in this pandemic is the fault of one person. Even though 48 states are operating under these kinds of circumstances with emergency orders and emergency powers, and as Representative Garofalo said, even though the solutions are not easy, they're not obvious, and they're not going to be presented through political rhetoric in a legislative chamber, it actually takes hard work to do this. So the unemployment insurance provisions are for the people who would be losing their benefits on December 26th. It's December 14th. It's the season of Advent, of expectation. It's a season when we want to bring people together, when we want to see the best in each other, when we want to see our fellow human beings as part of a larger whole. And there is much in 2020 that might make us question whether we are, in fact, all in it together and whether we believe in that. I think during this season of the year, we have an opportunity to show that, in fact, after all the dangerous rhetoric, the dangerous actions, frivolous lawsuits, election contests, bombastic rhetoric in a campaign, all of the nonsense that has represented political activity in our system in 2020, at the end of the day, Minnesotans have a state government that can find a way to bridge differences, to help the people who are most in need, and help them get through to a time when a brighter light of a vaccine can help us all survive, and when the federal government might be able to use its tremendous powers to help us all survive. So members, let us show tonight, during this season, that the best of us can still overcome the worst of us. That every time we face a challenge, every time we face hardship, every time we face a crisis, every time we face a disaster, what's good in us is able to rise to the top, that we are able to do as best we can for the people most in need, and that what Minnesotans can expect from their state government when times are toughest are people who can come together and actually do the right thing for them, the people's government. That is our mission. Our mission tonight, members, is to vote green. I ask you to do that. Thank you.
The clerk will take the roll.